Did you know Kennesaw Mountain's magnet program benefits from a connection with NASA? Learn more about it in this episode of The Inside Scoop. Hey, and welcome back to another episode of The Inside Scoop. I'm David Owen. Whether you catch us on YouTube or your favorite podcasting platform, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on the next episodes. Share it with a friend, too. Students thrive when they have friends alongside them. As we continue our series looking into the details on Cobb's magnet programs, today we take a closer look at the Academy of Mathematics, Science, and Technology at Kennesaw Mountain High School with the program's coordinator, Angie Wood. Angie, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for inviting me.
So let's start off. Last week we heard from Christopher Walstead about the Wheeler program. So now's your time to brag. Tell us a little bit about the Kennesaw Mountain program.
Like you said, we're Academy of Mathematics, Science, and Technology. We're a STEM certified program, and we really focus on building students' core academics in math and science and technology, and then, areas that they can focus on when they go to college and build their college resume.
Sure. Okay. So now, like I said, we just did a podcast with Christopher Walstead, who is, of course, bragging on his program. And parents listening to this podcast might be wondering, okay, I got two STEM magnet programs out there. What's the difference? I mean, they're so similar. It would seem they're so similar.
Well, location's a big one.
Well, okay. Although that being said, students can get a ride to any magnet program from across the county, right?
Absolutely. They can anywhere they want to, anywhere in Cobb County. A bus will come and pick them up at a location, so closest to their home. So we do like to joke about back and forth between East Cobb versus West Cobb, that sort of thing. But basically, we're open to all students. But something that makes us a little bit different is I think our program is big enough that we can support kind of all the classes that kids want and need to take to kind of reach those STEM fields that they want to do, but small enough that we're kind of a little more intimate and get to know them and just kind of are able to work with them one-on-one.
So Wheeler's program, I think he said it's like 2,500 students, which is huge. Kennesaw Mountain's not quite that big?
No, I think Kennesaw Mountain overall, the student body is like 1,680.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have a little bit smaller school. Our program has about 400 students in it.
Yeah.
So about 100 per grade.
So it's maybe a more intimate experience for the students.
It is.
So let's talk about the how the students relate to other students at Kennesaw Mountain. I mean, you said you've got about 400 magnet students, but in a population of about 1,500, what's it like for them on a daily basis there?
Well, initially, when they first start out as freshmen, they're a little more bubbled in the magnet, but they have electives and things that they can take that interact with other students in the population, the general, the regular students that come to our school. But then our magnet students participate in everything. They're in band, they're in orchestra, they're in athletic, they're athletes, they travel and take trips. They interact with all the students at all the different levels that they can. And as they progress through the school, their classes are more and more integrated. So they can take classes. And they really, it's one of the things that we like about our school is that they're able to kind of diversify out of magnet into the regular population and just kind of meet new students that are interested in things that they are.
So one of the things that comes to my mind, it seems like maybe you're kind of answering this already. Is there a magnet hallway at the school, or?
No, my office is it, right? Everything else, the magnet students are everywhere in the building.
They don't all cram in your office.
They don't fit. They try to, but they don't always fit in there. Our buildings, we have a math science building, but that's a math science building for everyone, the English hallway and and et cetera. So really not really a kind of a focused location for them. They really are out with the population of the entire school.
So I would imagine, though, as they get into their later years of the magnet program, that maybe they are spending more time on that hallway, the math and science hallway, but but not necessarily isolated from the general population.
Right. So they spend a lot of time in the math science building. It's why my office is in the math science building, so I'm, easily accessible to them when they need it. But no, I mean, they hang outside my office. There's other common areas. We have a beautiful courtyard, so it's just kind of a mix. We don't really isolate in one location.
Yeah. That actually works great, because then the socialization aspect, you get a broader exposure. Going outside of just the magnet program. That's important. So it sounds to me like your program not only focuses on the academic rigor, and as magnet is so well known in Cobb for delivering, but also on the well-rounded student. Would you say that's? I would say that is a primary focus of our program. We want students to be able to choose options, whatever they are. They don't have to be STEM related. And so if you're not going into a primarily STEM dominant field, you want to do something else, you have to have the soft skills to kind of go on and go outside that and kind of meet with people. And so we have a lot of opportunities that they can take advantage of that's just part of a general high school that they are welcome to pursue, like business or, like I said, athletics or fine arts or just
anything.
Just about anything. Any high school student. Well, I'm glad you said that, because it seems that success isn't necessarily just about head learning, so to speak. Right. It includes those soft skills, the people skills that cause people to excel in life, succeed in life, I should say. All right. So earlier I asked you about the description about your program and what the distinction is. And I know that you've got a key component on your campus.
We do.
I could see you beaming with pride right now.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what that distinction is, Kennesaw Mountain's pride and joy at the heart of the high school.
We have a wonderful observatory that our astronomy teacher was able to get funding for and put together and put in use for not just our school, but for anyone in Cobb County schools that would like to use it.
Oh, wow.
It was donated by a parent.
Not just any parent.
No, a NASA employee, former retired NASA employee. But yeah, he donated it. We had the observatory for a while. And finally, our astronomy teacher came on and got the Cobb tank funding and was able to get a platform and get it connected, because it was a lot more than just having the observatory.
Yeah.
And then we got to use it. I guess one of my favorite moments of using it is when we had the eclipse several years ago.
Yes, that was quite the experience.
I was out there in the courtyard helping with the tech pieces and running around and, just kind of supporting everything. So it was great. So yeah, we love it. Have great astronomy classes and great clubs to support that.
I remember years ago, Burkle Alexander is the teacher, right?
Yes.
Presenting on the Cobb tank. And folks, if you don't know what the Cobb tank is, you need to learn what that is. It's an exciting thing that teachers get to compete for a bucket of money, so to speak, to achieve certain things. And I believe Burkle came on and presented the idea of, hey, we've got this donated observatory, but it takes a special mounting to keep it steady enough to look at the distant stars, right?
Right.
Kind of
so
the concept?
The platform is a little more intricate than just your normal deck, so it looks like a deck, but it's more stable, can't shake. You don't need a lot of vibrations, because that will disturb the images that they're trying to get.
Yeah.
And then just powering the thing, and then making sure it has Wi-Fi or, just internet, anything that they need. So it was more involved than just kind of setting it up in the courtyard and going.
It's not the telescope that I had as a kid.
No, not at all.
On the driveway.
Not at all.
Okay, well, you're new to your position there as coordinator, but you're not new to Kennesaw Mountain's magnet program, right?
Right.
So how long have you been there in general?
I started in 2010. I was initially in the science department there, and started out actually as a supply teacher, believe it or not.
Really?
And then was able to get a contract in 2011 and started officially as a science teacher. So I was formerly a math teacher, which is a little odd. Was changing fields and everything, and then became a science teacher, and then started teaching physics. They're like, you can do math, teach physics. So
they're the same.
They're the same. Exactly.
Well, it's the same side of the brain.
Well,
right?
yes. It's a practical application. So, and then from there, just kind of progressed, started teaching magnet classes, and then and then volunteering to help the former coordinator, Dr. Engel. She's like, do you want to help? And I'm like, I'll be glad to. And so I did, and I just loved the whole magnet experience and working with these kids. And I love kids in general, don't get me wrong, but it's been fun to kind of have this magnet experience.
Sure, absolutely. Now, since you've been there a while, have you seen any kids rise to particular levels of success that are notable or that come to your mind?
Yeah, we've had quite a few come through our program that they do great things, and then just some what we think is ordinary, but not necessarily. I had a student when I first started working with the magnet kids. She was new into the country, from China, and she was studying. She was translating everything, and then by the time she finished magnet, she was able to get into MIT and pursue, her passion there at MIT in computers and engineering, And so that was kind of like my first success story of a student that was like mine, that I had taught and kind of encouraged to go through. So that one's always going to be really special. It's been a while, but that one's going to be special. But
absolutely,
our kids do great things. They're all over, from Georgia to Georgia Southern, KSU, Georgia Tech, Embry-Riddle, like lots of, and then MIT and Yale.
Yeah, just throw those in last second. And that's just one that you know of, right? We don't even know where some of them landed, right?
No, I mean, I have computer scientists that I know are working at Capital One and in Washington, D.C., and then, like students of mine that do that kind of, just kind of embrace our program and just go after the computer aspect of our program. And then I've got another former student that's a mechanical engineer working at Milwaukee Tools.
Okay.
So just all over. And then some lawyers and a poet. Believe it or not.
A poet?
A poet, yeah.
Okay. Now, earlier you said you're STEM certified. Is that a STEAM certification?
We are not. We are STEM. He just happened to manage to get through our program, loved his time at our school, and then got an engineering degree, and then switched and got a master's in poetry. Yeah, because it just lends itself. And he comes back every year to help judge our competitions, and it's great, just kind of thriving. But we just feel like we gave him the tools to get to whatever he wants to do. Yeah,
I think that's probably the key, right?
Yes.
I mean, that's what you're looking for. Is
exactly.
You're not trying to crank out a bunch of automatons. You want these students to decide where they want to go in life and succeed. And that is that is an example I never would have asked for or known to ask for, right?
It's great, yeah.
So what would you see, or what would you tell a parent about characteristics to look for in their student if they want to know that or have an idea that their student would be successful in the magnet program at Kennesaw Mountain? How do they know if they're a student? What could they look for?
Our students they're scholars. I mean, they really are. They're dedicated to their studies. They work hard, but they're not just in isolation. They're also in clubs at their school that they're passionate about, or they're participating in community service. We are big at Kennesaw Mountain on community service, so a lot of our students just kind of roll in there and help out with service hours. But it's really, dedicated, wanting to work on their, interested, curious in their science, curious about math, curious about computer science. They don't have to do all three. I mean, well, they do have to do all the program.
Well,
but
yeah, you still have to do your assignments.
They still have to do the assignments, but they also can pursue that. So if you have a student that just kind of seems to be passionate about learning and passionate and just really curious, we want them to work hard and be curious. Okay.
And it seems to me that you're talking about their finding their natural passion,
right?
That it matches what you offer. Is that kind of?
That's exactly it. We want them to come into our program because we are a little more general. In our education, we do have some multiple pathways. We're not just engineering. We are, able to provide mathematics and then the language and different things that we do want them to come in. And some students come in knowing, like, I'm going to MIT, this is what I'm going to do, this is my path, and we just kind of like go behind them and try to make sure that they're okay,
help them
and help them along. Yeah. And then some kids just don't know, so we want them in there, giving them a variety of opportunities to kind of explore things that they like. We've had students come in thinking they were going to be an engineer, and they end up going in medical fields.
Or poetry.
Or poetry, or just something different, but just kind of helping them figure out what they want, and then just kind of providing them with as many opportunities as we can.
So how obviously the parents listening or the students listening are interested in knowing more about Magnet in general and allegedly the Kennesaw Mountain's Magnet program. Actually, I shouldn't say it that way. It's the Magnet program at Kennesaw Mountain.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just for students zoned for Kennesaw Mountain.
It's not.
How can they learn more and maybe ask questions directly and get more information about what you offer there?
Okay. We have every fall and spring, around October, March time, we have open houses for students to come and visit the school so they can take a look. You really don't necessarily want to come to a school that you've never seen before, so they can kind of check us out. We encourage students to come to our events, check out the culture of the school. Does it fit? Do the students that you're there working with fit with the school? And then there's the Magnet website. And then we have a Magnet counselor who's dedicated. She has a little website that students can also get information from there as well.
Okay. All right. And we'll be sure to drop some of those website links in the show notes.
Okay.
That's always a great opportunity,
Sure.
I'm sure. And if you're interested in seeing those links, the way you find the show notes is you go to the cobbk12.org homepage for the district and just look for the pod icon or podcast icon by the search field. They don't make it easy to describe. I'll just be candid. But just click on that icon. You'll see all of the various podcasts, and within each podcast are show notes. That's what you're looking for. That's where we'll make sure all of these links are. And if you're on mobile, just go to the bottom of the homepage on your mobile page. Angie, thank you so much for taking the time to come in. I know it's a very busy time of the year for you, but I think the parents listening and the students listening to this podcast will have an appreciation for what you have said today and offer. We'll continue learning more about the Magnet programs over the next few weeks, releasing a new podcast midday each Wednesday, followed by the video version on YouTube shortly thereafter. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Thanks again for listening to this edition of The Inside Scoop, a podcast produced by the Cobb County School District.